Hey everyone. I recently had some questions or actually requests from my Instagram if I would show some in progress videos of my color panels. So I'm doing one here of R2 and Dagobah and I hope you like it. I just wanted to share with my progress in it and my technique, and I'll talk about a little bit about that as we move along. So anyway, stay tuned. It's kind of a long video, but I hope you like it. I start out with a piece of masonite, and this has been cut on my table saw. And the first part of the process, after it's been primed and gessoed, is I'm just kind of stabilizing the background with a thin coat of paint that kind of matches kind of where I'm going with it. So I'll put in a background that will take away all of the lighter color, obviously, but then replace it with a very rough, close to how the background is going to be. So there's going to be some colors and highlights and stuff like that, maybe perhaps in places where I'm going to be adding them in the end of the painting anyway. And then of course I put in a second coat of the backdrop and getting a little bit more intense in the color. In this case, in this one, there's going to be a lot of darks and blacks and blues and things like that. So I'm really just adding in a lot of that stuff so that I can really take away the primed background, but then also add a real history of paint on top of that. And I'm using all acrylic paint here too, so as well. So acrylic paint can go on thick, it can go on in piles as well. So anyway, I'm just adding a real deep history of the background here. I've kind of got my drawing on here now, and I'm just kind of starting to kind of block in. And I'm going to start with R2's domed head, if you will. And I'm just working on just some general colors and blocking in those pieces so that I can get kind of some instant gratis, if you will, as to how this is going to contrast from the background. I'm working from images that I've seen from the movie, and I'm working largely on those lighting and color effects that are in the movie. So hopefully we can recreate those things. So in R2's dome, I'm really kind of trying to catch the light of where it's coming from, and just the general cruddy way that he's portrayed here. Has got a lot of mud and stuff like that, so I have to kind of reproduce that as well. During the blocking in stage, I'm just kind of doing a lot of window shading where I'm getting things to just about an 80% finished, or maybe even closer. A lot of times when I do window shading or area by area painting, as I've heard it called before, I'll get things to about an 80%, and I'll come back later on, and once everything's blocked in, and get everything brought back up to 100% of how I like it. So some of these spots I'll revisit later on as I move along, but pretty much after I've left them in this painting, I'm probably not going to return to them unless there's going to be items that have to have continual layers put on them, like this eye here in R2's dome here, where there has to be some continual layer in the reflection in it. So I'm just adding that stuff as well as I move along. So I'm going to be pretty close to finish once I get done with an area on this painting. A lot of the light that's on this painting while you're looking at it while it's being done is pretty not really the true to the way it looks in real person. So kind of apologize for that big crazy glare that's on the side of my table. I'm going to move along to this little area down here where there's another red, I'm not sure exactly what you call it, so maybe the R2 fans or builders can help me with that, but there's a red area there, and that sensor or that eye or whatever like that generally seems to change colors from different times, but in this case it's going to be a really bright red, so I'm going to layer that in over and over and over again until it gets to be the red and vermilion and pinks that I see in that part of R2's body. So it'll take me a little while to get happy with that. So I'll paint over that again and again and again and again. So I'll let it dry a little bit until it comes back and I get it the way I want it to be. There's a lot of detailed straight lines in R2's outside shell, and they seem to be kind of sometimes very difficult to make sure that they get it put in properly so I'm happy with them. So it takes a lot of playing around some very small brushes to actually get to that point. You can also see that I put in some of the background a little bit here, just to give me a little bit of a rough idea where the highlights and darks are going to be ultimately. This is definitely by far one of my favorite scenes from one of my favorite movies. I'm definitely an early Star Wars guy. I'm a huge fan, and I don't think that I would never not be a fan, even if I didn't like something that maybe perhaps Disney Lucasfilm is putting out at the moment. But definitely Empire Strikes Back. Excuse me. Empire Strikes Back is one of my favorites, and particularly the scenes from Dagobah are really kind of captured the imagination of those. Like, they could be so much more explored there, and you really wonder what this planet was really like, because there's so much darkness and wet swamp and mist and crazy stuff like that. There's so much fun stuff to paint, particularly here when we're contrasting the metallic parts of Artoo-Detoo with the natural backgrounds of Dagobah. There's so many parts of his body that are just muddied up, so there's so many varying different degrees of the whites and blues and just muddy red colors, mud on the dark blue ultramarine colored parts of the arms and appendages that are folded in there. So anyways, it's really kind of a fun way to kind of explore, okay, what does dirty look like? And anyway, I kind of enjoy this part because I painted R2 in this circumstances a number of times, and every time it's different. It really is fun to kind of explore and to see if I can get better at it, but also that there's been varying styles applied to it too. Some of them are looser and more painterly, and some of them are a little bit more detailed. Some have different color tones in them, and in this one you'll see in the end there's going to be a mix of some greens and warm tones in the background that will probably bring out R2's blues and whites that are in his body colors. I'm just kind of going in and doing a little bit more of the background to get a little bit more of the highlight, just to see in the end where this is going to go. So I just kind of keep adding those things. As you can see, kind of see on the right hand side, I've added a tree limb that's got kind of like a mossy green growing on it, and now I'm adding in some of the more like tree barky background parts added to the background. So anyway, this part's really kind of fun, and I think it kind of brings R2 out even more as we try to just keep the background in the background, but as well as having some detail there as well. So anyway, we're nearing the end. I really enjoyed this paint. I hope you enjoyed watching it. This is one of my favorites now. Of course, I've really had a lot of fun painting Artoo-Detoo again in Dagobah. This painting is, of course, available on my website if you'd like to have it for yourself. All of my color panels are there, whether they've found a new home or not. You can check them all out there. So anyway, I just really hope you enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that I will see you again very soon with more military work that I've got going on, and maybe do some more Star Wars stuff too. I have some more pieces that I'm going to be doing that are from Empire Strikes Back. So once I get to those, maybe I'll try to make another video of those that you can see that. I'd like to welcome all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate you being here, and hope you enjoy the videos. And I hope you enjoy the technique that we kind of shared here with acrylic painting on Masonite. Have fun, watch Star Wars.